Thank you, Maharaj, for such a beautiful class today. And the topic, while we are reading the purport, the first line says that the material world throws opportunities at you to take you away from Krishna. So, we are all working here, and the purport also says that we should be satisfied with whatever little that we have. But at the same time, we also have temple. We also want to kind of expand the temple, all these things. So when opportunities from outside come, in a way that there are bigger opportunities, so like, what is the criteria that we should see, whether it is Maya calling or actually there is a real opportunity where we can do something and then give it to the temple. So what are the indications, or how do we analyze when the opportunities are posed to us through this material world, whether it is Maya that is showing a path taking away from Krishna, or okay, this is the right opportunity, maybe Krishna is inspiring, and then go forward and you can do more service through that.
It's a most helpful. Somebody chanting the japa? It's coming through. It's best to be very clearly aligned with one's purpose and with the purpose of the mission. For instance, we say, when we want more facility for anything, we best lead with, why do we want more facility? For instance, in management, there's always opportunity to make more positions available. But if you make more positions available, you have this title, you have that title, but there's no clear purpose of why they're there. It's just management for management's sake. You get what's called bureaucracy. And there's a bunch of managers sitting around looking for somebody to manage. And that comes into, power, politics, and ideas that, I don't have anybody to control right now. Who can I control through my appointed position right now? And however, in management, as Prabhupada instructed us, should be mission-led. In other words, we do the mission and then we manage the results. And our mission is to preach, pure and simple. Our mission is to teach Krishna consciousness to other people. Jive doi Krishnanam sarva dharma sar. For those who don't know, that's our mission statement at ISV, written for us, custom written for us by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who said, your mission, dear residents of ISKCON, of Silicon Valley, is to show compassion to fallen souls by widely spreading the holy name. Now, if you take that and that becomes the tip of the spear, then there's lots to manage. For instance, you may have a brainstorming session and people come up with 137 ideas about how to expand preaching. Let's just say, and that's a thing. If we sat here together for an hour, we would come up on a whiteboard with 100, depending how fast somebody could write, 137 minimum ideas of how to preach Krishna consciousness more effectively. In the course of that, then someone would say, oh, I know how to do that. I know how to make AI things that would reach out, little robots that would go house to house and knock on people's door with a bag of Bhagavatams. I could do that. It's like, okay, then you're in charge of the AI department. That's management or mission-led management. If you sit around and try to draw up a flow chart, like here's how the whole thing's going to work, well, fine, but there's nothing to manage. It's just a bunch of circles on the page. So in any of our acquisitions in life, let's say you're a grihasta and you want to acquire something, you say, what am I going to do with it? Why am I acquiring it? If you say, I want to live somewhere, then you say, well, why do you want to live there? What's in it for your service? And if you say, my service will be enhanced for these following reasons, that's why I want to get it. course, you could do it retroactively too, because you might not have been thinking like that when you went ahead. And then you'd say, okay, now what can we do with it? Either way, it's okay. But the life of it is, how will I execute the mission with this? Then it makes sense. And then it's non-reactive also. It becomes a heavy burden on our heads when we acquire things for any other reason. And this is why the material nature is so sensitive. If you've ever noticed, you can count up the lessons you've learned in your life when you've been burned by the material energy. And there's still a little scar there, or a big one. And you can see that, okay, I did it for my own purpose. I spoke out because I wanted the glory. Or whatever it may be, I acted out of a sense of anger because my ego was offended. And that leads to some merciful reaction, so that, like, ouch, I shouldn't have done that. That put me in a hole. Whereas the times when we were thinking in terms of all for one, one for all, we're doing this together for Krishna, no ego in it. For me, I just want to help. The pot guy at the Ganges who's passing the, maybe not even that guy, because he might think, I'm the guy on the, maybe 3 guys down and 100 from the Gundicha temple. I'm the guy in the middle, nobody even knows who I am, but I'm going to do this for Krishna. Then counterintuitively, not only do we feel satisfied, but then Krishna notices us, and it's actually a fact from the Chaitanya Bhagavat that the woman who was considered like, she's not part of the real Sangha. And that happens. We saw it with Prabhupada. Prabhupada would come in and everyone's like, no, we're with Prabhupada. And you guys, you can sit on the corner. It wasn't, overt like that. Well, maybe it was. But then Prabhupada will notice, like, oh, who's the guy with the blue jeans on and oil all over him? You must have been working hard. And similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu noticed who everybody else thought was, oh, she's just a housemaid. She doesn't, I'm not saying Srivas or anybody thought like that, but that's the implication of the context, that her name was even Dookie, because like, oh, you got to do all that. And Mahaprabhu noticed her. She's lining up the pots really nicely, but she's way in the back. And he saw past all the luminaries, all the avatars and incarnations who were standing right in front of him, and said, her, that's the one back there. I noticed her. So if we come into that awareness that our real alignment in life is to be happily engaged in selfless service, in whatever capacity I can best help out. And if we can develop that ego, that I'm a servant, not a false ego, that I'm the controller, then we can become quite satisfied. And then as far as acquisitions go, we always ask, what is the definition? For instance, I want a big temple. Define big. What does it mean? Because I've seen big temples and I didn't feel comfortable in them. I felt like a stranger, or like, do I belong here? It's big physically, huge infrastructure, and then like, is anybody going to talk to me? Is there any loving exchanges going on and so forth? That can happen. That's possible. So thinking about what's important first, and then expanding based on that. What's mission-based? Like, what do you want it to do to preach? If you say, I want a space, like, what kind of space are you going to do? I want it to accommodate new people so they can come in and feel that they can take to Krishna consciousness. Then you're aligned, and then you won't make a mistake ever, because even if you do, you bought it at the wrong time, whatever, Krishna will fix it for you. Like everyone would say, you bought it at the top of the market, and Krishna, nuh-uh, watch this. Because that's, Krishna's controlling everything anyway. It's one of the lessons that we learned from the Bhagavad Gita. Duryodhana had it all together. He did all the networking, and he had more money for political ads, so he could put them all up and attract everybody. It's like, yeah, I'll pay you. Come on in. You fight on our side against the Pandavas. And that puny little army, they got nobody, but they had Krishna. I mean, it's one of the main contrasts. If you have Krishna, then you're going to win. And even when you lose, you win. So that's the parameter. And if we manage in that way, and we keep asking ourselves, what are we doing? What's important? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur got a big temple. And it was big in the sense that it was big news because it was all marble. And later, when he noticed that because of it, the mood had changed. There was a sweet mood at Ultadanga Junction Road, he said. Everybody just wanted to preach. They were packed in like those little, well, anyway, in a can of peas. But they were happy because they were going out and preaching. I've been in such situations before. I remember in St. Louis, Missouri, we were living in a building which was fit to be condemned. And it was. Soon after, we used it to its full capacity, so much so that there were so many devotees packed in there. And every floor, there was 3 floors in that place, and you walk in any room at night, if you're a little late trying to take rest, you try to find a place on the floor or on a cabinet somewhere to fit in, and everyone just woke up. And I just remember Mangalartik, everyone was dancing so hard that the floor was going like this because everyone was just so happy because they were perfectly aligned. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur noticed a change in mood, and he proclaimed, I'd rather sell the marble off the temple because people are losing, my disciples are losing that sense that what's important is giving mercy. And that's what we're here for. So he said, I'll sell. And some people say, that's why he decided, well, I can leave now because I'm not feeling satisfied. So our success here at ISV is undoubtedly our relationships. And in relationships, there's strength and there's also conflict. And when we learn how to overcome any interpersonal conflict, in any which way, there are multiple combinations and permutations of ways in which we'll feel anxiety and we'll feel frustrated in our association together. Inevitable. Verse from Kunti. Due to social intercourse, she says. What? Give the Manyetum kalamishana manani niranam vimum samam charantam sarvatra bhutanam yanbita kali. Yeah, she said that the interactions of human beings are really interesting. And our strength, our main asset, is that we have the wherewithal to follow Krishna's guidance that he gives in the Bhagavad Gita to work out interpersonal conflicts in such a way that are pleasing to him. That's our main asset. That's big. If you have that, then you can add more layers. And it's worth spreading out because you have something really to offer. If we have a spark of enthusiasm in our hearts that Krishna's will must be done, and I feel enthusiastic because I feel aligned, that I'm doing the best I can to follow the Guru Parampara, sincerely doing my level best and supporting others who are doing it. That's big. And that's worth expanding for, especially when we say, hey, there's so many people, we can't fit them anymore. What are we going to do? Let's get some more space and fill it up. Those guiding principles have to stay in place. Otherwise, it's so easy to veer off and get into bureaucracy or get distracted by what seems to be big, which is oftentimes brick and mortar. I've got the brick and mortar, therefore we're successful. What's the spirit inside? That's what's most important.